where we own it. They have licensed it for hundreds of millions of dollars. So we like them as a partner. They have a very different attitude. You know, as I said, they're doing so many original programs. They go by analytics. They say this kind of program will work. You know, we, number one, don't have the money to do 70 or 80 originals. Number two, analytics work to a point. We use a lot of research. We use a lot of data. But at the end of the day, you have to pick programs or movies that connect with people. And a computer can't tell you that. AI won't work in saying, gee, I feel emotional about these characters or this situation. So, as I said, we look at research, we look at types of programs that are working, we look at TV queue of actors and who's popular and who's not. But at the end of the day, you have to sit in your chair and say, I like this show, I think millions of people are gonna like this show, and it's gonna sell worldwide. So once again, I wish I had the luxury of doing 80 shows, and they will come up with their hits their way, but I have to be a little bit more spot on in my choices, and you know, that it's a different way of looking at the world.
Well, you know, speaking of them being able to do 80 shows and them having these advantages that you wish you had, and your gut probably goes up against their analytics and wins most of the time. But if you were on an analyst call, I know how the street feels about Netflix. The street says their model is better. Their model is they put more money into programming. As a result of that, more people subscribe. The more people who subscribe, the more money they can put into programming. And then they start doing that in India, and then they start doing that in Latin America, and then and the whole world is out there for them. I mean, how do you beat that model?
No, by the way, it's hard. It's a very different model than ours.
Yeah.
You know, their multiple is based on being a tech company. You know, it's very nice when you don't have to have large profits.
Oh, for what, 10 years, the street supported them with no profits.
With zero profits.
Yeah, huge market cap, no
It's
profits.
very nice when you don't have to present ratings. Nobody knows how many people watch their shows, you know? For all we know, 10 people are watching Orange is the New Black. I think it's probably more than 90%. We don't know. We truly don't know how they compare. By the way, I wake up every day and I deal with two numbers: the price of our stock and the ratings. Every single day. They don't have to, I mean, their stock keeps going up, and they are living under another model. Having said that, our model's working pretty good. Our stock was up 35% last year. So, you know, we're competing on our own level, and, you know, it's a different ballgame. In a lot of ways, I envy them, and I also think what they've done is extraordinarily smart. I really do. I think the formation of Netflix, you know, was a brilliant idea. It's an idea that's going to work. It's our job as content suppliers. It's our job at Showtime, at CBS, to compete with them. In other words, I love what we're doing at Showtime very much, and I'll put those shows up against the Netflix shows any day of the week in terms of premium content.
Yeah. You mentioned when you were talking about the late night shows, people watching the clips, you're rumored to be doing some kind of a deal with YouTube Unplugged. Do you want to comment about that? I don't know whether...
Yeah, you know, it's been rumored, and it's a fairly accurate rumor, but it hasn't been announced yet. But there are a lot of streaming services that are happening now. Hulu has one that we announced that we've joined. Sony has one. YouTube is planning one. Direct has an offering which we're not part of yet. Verizon is going to do it. So all these places are doing streaming services that are going to replace the traditional guys. They're going to replace the Comcasts, the Time Warners. Well, not replace them, compete with them. Mm-hmm. And as far as we're concerned, we will get paid more money if a sub goes from Comcast to Hulu. So if they switch over, that's fine. It's also for people who have never signed up for cable. You know, they'll go on Hulu, and it'll be new people who have been cord cutters or cord nevers, and that will be a positive for us. So we welcome all of the people that want to show our content as long as we get paid for it. We are.
Well, and we've gone from Netflix to Hulu to YouTube. Okay, let's go one step further, Mr. Innovator.
Right.
What about VR and AR? I mean, that's the subject du jour. There's a big tech crowd here today that's interested. Right. How important is that going to be?
Look, the first usage for us, and I think it's still a few years away, will be in sports. We obviously televise a lot of sports. We have the NFL. We have the NCAA basketball tournament till 2032, which I expect UCLA to be a big part of this year. You know, we're hoping.
After last
we're
night.
hoping, right? You
Yeah.
know,
How about last night?
That happened. So that will be the first usage. Look, we're not going to spend the billions of dollars that a Facebook is in figuring out how this is, you know, how to innovate in AR and VR. We're paying very close attention to it. Obviously, when it becomes applicable to us, which it will, as I said, first in sports, I think, and we're paying close attention without investing that kind of money in it. It's something. Look, technology is certainly overwhelming a lot of the decisions we're making, obviously in distribution, but also in the production of content. So it's something that we're going to be a big part of, but I don't know what it is yet.
All right, let's go back to the fun part. You mentioned a couple, but what are the maybe three best let's say casting decisions? And we can include the one we're familiar with.
Right. Well, George Clooney, obviously. Billy Peterson was an actor that I chased for 10 years, you know, and our job is convincing movie stars that you're not really a movie star. You know, it's you know, like, get real here, go on TV, make a lot of money, and do that. So Billy Peterson is one of those. He did CSI. He was phenomenal. I love doing that. And you know, I don't know. You know, it's
How about the best one? The best casting decision?
the best casting decision. Oh, my wife on the top. That's what I'm saying.
I had a whisper.
My wife is the host of Big Brother on CBS and also The Talk. So that was the best casting decision. Is that a good answer, Harry? You'll give a good report for me later.
Okay, what was the absolute toughest business decision that you've ever had to make?
The toughest business decision. Probably the split from Viacom. That was a tough call. Obviously, Sumner made the call, but it was with the cooperation of Tom Freston and me on each side of it. And it was really going into nowhere land by ourselves. The other tough call we made was not joining Hulu, which I'm very happy we didn't. You know, at the time Hulu was being formed, and it was an idea from Peter Chernin at Fox, and he came to us first. And the idea of doing a joint venture with our content, with our major competitors, didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right. And as a result of that, All Access happened. You know, now Hulu is wildly successful, but it's made up of the three competitors that we have on network television. I'm not sure if all of them would be in it if they had to do it all over again. We went a very different path, and it was a tough path. So it initially started with obviously Fox and NBC, and then ABC joined them later on, and we stayed on our own path, and I think it's been very helpful. The way I look at our content is the family jewels. And to put it in a joint venture where you can't pull it out seemed to me a little bit dangerous. You know, as you're entering into the world of streaming, I wanted the ability to. We didn't know at the time whether streaming would cannibalize what we were doing on the network. You know, and obviously the network was the centerpiece of our company. So we went our own way because with the knowledge that on All Access I could put things in, I could take them out, we could plan our own future, and joint ventures are a bitch. They really are. It's, I like making decisions with my own team. I don't like making decisions and then say, okay, what do you think? You know, that's, you know, it's a tough thing. Not that they're, you know, we have the CW, which I love the Warner Brothers guys. We have Pop with Lionsgate, they're joint ventures. And they're all good guys and they're all my friends. Each company, though, has a different strategy on how the world should look going forward. And if it had been Hulu, putting our content in there, that would have been a tough call for us. So I think that was a tough one. Look, anytime you cancel a show, a hit show, you know, it's tough when it's been on the air a long time. You guys are too young to remember this, but Murder, She Wrote was like an American institution, and Angela Lansbury was like a god. And when I canceled that show, I had to like hide from, the good news is most of the people were over 70 who were looking. So I was able to get away, you know. But those are tough calls, they really are. Because, look, you get to know the people on your shows, you get to know the actors, you get to know the writers, and basically you're putting 150 people out of work. Now, the good ones, most of them get another gig and they're working soon after, but sometimes they're not, and you're breaking up a family. So it's a very tough thing to do. I don't like canceling shows or firing people, but obviously we wouldn't have won 13 out of 14 years if we didn't cancel shows and put new ones on.
Yeah, you know, you had mentioned something to me that you sort of delved in, and this is